Hello and welcome to Rapid Flow. My name is Eric, I'm the founder, and today I'm going to be walking you through everything you see on my desk, which is controllers. We're going to be looking at the APC40 Mark II. We're going to be looking at using it in conjunction with the AKAI MIDIMIX, and we're going to be looking at my looping workflow using the Launchpad Mini V3, but we're also going to be looking at the Arturia BeatStep Pro and the Torso T1. I'm going to be breaking this video up into a couple of videos because, you know, I got to make content for YouTube, but I'm going to publish all of these all at the same time so you can find them at the end of each other and just keep going if you want to know more. We're also going to have a brief look at the Console 1, how I use it, and we're even going to have a brief look at the mouse. So basically everything I use to interface with the computer and create drums, melodies, and all that stuff, I'm going to show you today. So we're going to start with looking at these guys over here on the desk, which is the APC40 and MIDIMIX. And basically what I'm doing with these is that I'm controlling the template that you see in the lower right corner here, which is the Eric Heiermann Ableton Live template, which you can grab over on rapidflow.shop. You can buy it exactly as you see it here, minus, of course, my personal songs, although I am considering releasing them at a certain point. But right now what you can grab is this template, which includes everything I'm going to show you right now, which is how you can use controllers to take a basic loop and turn it into a whole track progression. Let me show you. Okay, so what have I done here? What's this setup and what's so cool about this? Well, basically, I've been making music for 25 years and it took me forever to figure out that using a DAW only with a mouse and keyboard, in my experience, was extremely boring, and I tried to figure out a way to do this in a way where it became much more fun, which is where I've landed on these two controllers because they're portable, reasonably affordable. This is like $350, this is 80 bucks roughly, this is also like 80 bucks. Actually, the APC40 Mark II is being made again by InMusic, so it's available again now. And in my experience, and many people that I've spoken to, this is absolutely the best controller for Ableton because, yeah, it's affordable, it's compact, it has all the functions really that you want on one device. And although it's not as rugged as some much more pro devices, it's enough to really play with, and you may have to replace it, I don't know, every 3-4 years if you're really on the road with it. So what am I doing with this controller and what's so cool about this dual controller setup? So basically what's happening here is that I have individual control, as you just saw now how easy it is for me to maybe reduce this loop a little bit so that it's easier for me to chat over. I have individual control over every aspect that is present in this live. I'm gonna put my face in here so you can actually see me while I'm chatting. So basically, the way I have this set up is I have I have kick, bass, snare, harmonic elements, melodic elements, hooks, pads, atmospheric sounds, piano sounds, and then this one is dedicated purely to percussion. So I have hi-hat up, hi-hat open, hi-hat 16, my percussion bus, which is actually all the loops that are being launched by this device here, which is this looping workflow that I'm going to show you also, which is over here on the right. And then I have, let me go over here again, an extra channel, and then I have a vocals channel, breakbeats, and some assorted sample or loop cloud when I'm producing. So with these number of faders, I'm not using master faders as you've noticed on them, so that adds an additional fader because I don't want to mess with my master fader. It should always be at 0. So with this amount of faders, I'm able to basically control an entire track, both in the studio while producing, but also on stage, which is perfect. Then the other thing that I have is I have a dedicated high cut on every single one of these channels. So if I zoom in a little bit more here and maybe just bring you a little bit closer here. Okay, so These 8 knobs here are high cuts for the first 8 channels on the APC. So kick high cut is right over here, bass high cut is right over here, and so on. So these 8 control high cuts on the main elements. The 9th high cut that I need for the master fader is over here to control the highs of the pianos. And then over here on the MIDI mix, it's very much the same. So I have high cuts for the hi-hat up, hi-hat open, hi-hat 16, all directly above it. Let me show you. So let's assume now that I'd want these hi-hats and snares to kind of fall back into the background a bit to leave some more space for the melody. And I can do the same with the harmony. So you see how easy it was? Just take the whole track energetically down, and obviously it's the opposite also. It's super easy to bring the energy back into your track by using this controller workflow. So let me bring up the harmony and start bringing up the hi-hat. So basically that way we can go from a very deep kind of, place to something that's much more alive. Now, similarly, another thing that I have here that is, I think, very interesting to look at is the workflow with the live performance effects, which are basically DJ effects. If you've ever DJed and you've had like a low and a high cut on your master output on maybe an Allen and Heath mixer, that's exactly what we have up here. So basically you have a low cut, you have a high cut, a washout effect, a reverb, a delay 1, a delay 2, the main master decay for all the hi-hats in the project. And then again, this is mapped to the high cut of the final fader, which I'm using over here because I needed an additional knob. So if I want to bring in the highs of this track again, or let's say I want to add the washout. So as you see, very powerful workflow. About using the clip launcher, I basically just move to the next scene whenever I'm launching clips, and I just move one row down and then launch the next bunch of fresh clips that I want to go for. And right now on this project, I'm at this part of my track. So if I would want to move now to the break, let me show you, assuming I would be playing a live set now, let me bring everything up. All right, now I want to move to my break. I just launch the next scene down. I always use the last fader for this. So as you saw, it was really easy for me now to just come to the break, and that's mostly what I use the workflow for with the clip launcher. I just launch a row of clips and then mess with them using either the high cuts or using the DJ effects. So this is a hugely powerful setup. Wait, this is the camera I want to use for this, because it gives me control over everything that's happening in a full live set, which is pretty complex. I mean, it has, a reasonable amount of channels in it. And there's a little thing you have to do where you have to map the MIDI CC values of this device to different parameters, otherwise they overlap. And if you use them at the same time, you actually get problems where some stuff gets basically double assigned. But all that is included. Also the file to upload, to upgrade or to change the CCs on this is included in the download of the AKAI on Ableton live set. So that's the most important stuff I wanted to show you on these two. Now, this guy here, is my looping workflow. And what I do with this is, at a certain point I realized I just got really bored of always looking for loops while I was producing. So what I've done is I've just pre-selected a ton of loops that I think are really nice and laid them into this segment at the back of the template here, as you can see. And what you need to do is make sure that everything back here, you do right click and you say remove stop button. See that? So there's no stop buttons in this whole block here. You see there's no stop buttons anywhere here. So that means that while I'm playing this track here, I can actually, using my looping workflow here now, start a bunch of different loops. I'm going to stop them quickly just so that we have a clean slate. So there's nothing playing there now. I'm going to close the harmonic element a bit to just make this easier to hear. And let me assume now I want to start a ride. We want to add some white noise. Maybe a hi-hat loop. And then I've gone ahead and assigned one knob here to an envelope shaper. And as you know, there's a high cut on this also. So let me zoom this over here a little bit and you can see everything in conjunction. So let me show you what happens if I mess with these loops that I've launched here now using the high cut and the envelope shaper. Very easy to get these loops to do cool stuff very intuitively in your track. So let me start a bunch of different loops, and that's usually how I use it. All right, I'm feeling that one. Let's bring in some other things here. So as you saw, it was super easy for me to just get a vibe going with the loops and the melodies and the harmonies that I had going on in my set, and then just intuitively move that over to somewhere completely different. So add in the kick and the bass and the snare and just kind of go with the flow of what I was feeling the music wanted to go in that moment. And actually I realized, as I've shown you all this, I don't think I've touched the mouse once, which is exactly what I wanted to get to after all these years. So there's a lot of inspiration in this, like, you know, giving credit where credit's due, from Sebastian Müller, Frank Wiedemann, who I did master classes with, watching videos of Paul Kalkbrenner, who does this technique of having all his faders at the top so that you always know when your mix is right. You just blast the faders all the way up. There's some things in here from deadmau5 that I learned. Basically all the information I've been gathering over the years, I've put it into this workflow with all these controllers. So yeah, I think a really cool way to interact with your music, to control your live set in a way that feels much more intuitive and fun. And yeah, to be able to take your track in any kind of direction really easily, which I'll gladly do to the end of this video now to show you how easy I can turn this track idea or place where we are in this track now into a break. And please check out the next video that I'm going to upload after this, which is going to be, I think, a highly interesting one, which is how I use these two sequencers here to make my tracks, make my bass lines and some rhythm elements, and to make my harmonies. These two I found over the years also using various sequencers are really amazing. So check out that video if you like. That's coming up in a second. And now I'm going to jam with this track a little bit to give you an idea of, yeah, just like how flexible this is. As I said, you can grab this on rapidflow.shop. It's the Eric Heiermann Ableton Live templates. There is other templates on the store for Bitwig, FL Studio, and Logic also. Yeah, so enough talk. Let me show you what I can do with this now, and I'll see you on the next video.